Hi again, guys. The other day, I went ahead and put in the 1 inch 4-hole combo spacer, kind of the super sucker style spacer from Speedmaster, and I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. Now this spacer, this other one that I have, I'm going to try this right now. This is the same spacer, but it's the 2-inch spacer. I don't know. I've been curious. Like I said, I like that one quite a bit. And so, what the heck? I have this guy sitting around, and let's put him to work, see if he's any better. So I'll go ahead. I'm not gonna have you watch me change a carb spacer, but yeah, go ahead and get that in there, and we'll take you for a drive and see what we think. Tell you the truth, guys, I like this. This does feel good, but it looks like I think my intake is too small for this 2-inch spacer. The intake that I have is really restrictive. It's got those tiny runners, and I think what's happening, the 1-inch spacer was a little bit better for me down in the low end, and this has a little bit more power when you get up top, but I don't know. I mean, it feels really good, but I don't know. Maybe I'll take it in and tune it and see what I think. Hey guys, so the comparison for my setup with the 1-inch combo spacer versus the 2-inch combo spacer, I gotta tell you, I think for me, what I was feeling, well, let me say one thing straight off. This spacer is great. It feels nice. It feels smooth, especially when I took it back and messed with the mixture a little bit, the idle mixture. It smoothed out a little bit more, and really just you can feel when you're driving it, this thing wants to flow. And I think what the problem is, it's not that this is a bad spacer. It's this spacer feels good. It really does, but the thing is, you can feel it wants to flow, and I don't have the flow to support that, at least not with this setup. I still think it's a hell of a spacer, and I'll tell you what, if my intake wasn't such a source of limitation for flow, I think this spacer would really be nice. I would really be interested in seeing what this spacer does on, say, the LD4B that I have, which flows great. But honestly, even if you have, there are other good intakes out there. Almost every intake you can find is going to flow more than what I've got on there. So, I mean, if you've got a performer, if you've got one of the cheap eBay, if you've got one of the cheap eBay air gap manifolds, I think it's gonna do quite well with this, to tell you the truth. But for what I've got, I think, I'll tell you what I had basically with the 1-inch combo spacer. It still had that strong feel, but there was a bit more crispness down low, and like I said, the high end on this was a little better, but you got to understand too that, I mean, with this setup the way it is, when I talk about high end, I'm talking like, that's only, for me anyway, that's only 3,000 RPM and up. I can't really, there's no real improvement to my flow as I get up higher. It doesn't happen with this intake. Um, so for this setup, I'm going to go back to the 1 inch. Um, and I'll talk about something else, which is kind of interesting in this little comparison. I don't know if this would be the case with others. I haven't tried out others or had them to mess around with, but the tapered part where it goes to the 4 holes on this 2 inch combo spacer is really, that section of it is really not much bigger than it was on the 1 hole spacer, or I'm sorry, on the 1 inch 4 hole spacer. So I think what's happening is that this, while it's an excellent spacer, it's the combo spacers, they're supposed to be a cross between a 4 hole spacer and an open spacer. Basically what I'm saying, the 4 hole contouring feature that's in there, it's not much bigger than it is on the 1 hole, or on the 1 inch spacer. So what's happening is I've got a lot more open area in this. I've got a lot more open area in this combo spacer than I had on the 1 inch, which in this case, I think what's happening is the 1 inch speaks better to my combo, because while this thing does have great velocity, it's a torque manifold, it's got great velocity, but it does not have good flow. There's just no two ways about that. It does not have have the same kind of flow you would get from even just a stock 4-barrel manifold. So yeah, it's not to poo-poo this 2-inch spacer. I think this 2-inch spacer is great. It felt smooth, especially after playing with the idle mixture some. It really felt smooth everywhere. It just didn't have that same crispness that I got out of the 1-inch spacer. But I think that is due to my setup. It becomes almost circumstantial. As I said, every manifold that I can think of flows higher than this manifold. So almost no matter what manifolds you have, you might want to give that 2-inch spacer a try. But I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rethinking about that statement. The 2-inch spacer is, obviously, it's 2 inches, it's tall. So there may be a limitation in terms of clearance. I was just for a moment thinking about my LD4B, and my LD4B is tall enough to where if I were to run the LD4B with the 2-inch spacer with that carb on top, the carb will fit. It would be difficult to get a air cleaner of any size in there. I would probably have to go to a air cleaner that is recessed to where it sits down, whatever it is, almost 2 inches, 1.5 2 inches shorter than the current air cleaner that I have in there. So just something to keep in mind. But that being said, yeah, I can feel it. It wants to do more. I just don't have that flow to give it. So that's it. I guess, what am I saying? Great spacer, I think. It really felt smooth. It really felt strong. It just, comparing between the two, for my setup that I have, I've got to say go with the 1-inch spacer.